Top Los Angeles Chargers star taken to hospital after terrifying injury in preseason game. Wide receiver Quentin Johnston was hospitalized after a frightening moment during the Los Angeles Chargers preseason game against the Los Angeles Rams on Saturday. The 23-year-old, who has been a key piece for the Chargers, was left unconscious after a play in the first quarter that had fans, teammates, and coaching staff rattled. Johnson, who was trailing a pass from quarterback Justin Herbert, ran into Rams defensive back Tanner Ingle. And once Johnston broke on the ball, Ingle made blatant helmet-to-helmet contact with the rising receiver, sending him sprawling on the grass. Johnston fell to the ground nearly immediately, and the scary scene played out that had everybody inside the stadium on edge. He was in something called fencing posture, which is when a concussion makes a player's arms and hands suddenly stiff and unnatural. Medics were soon on the scene, but for several desperate minutes, the veteran was not moved as the medics treated him. The tension only got worse with time. The stadium went quiet, and it was evident whatever started as just another play had turned into a matter of life or death. Fortunately, after being physically tested on the field, the Crows player showed the first signs of recovery. He started moving his arms and legs, and eventually, he could sit up. Still reeling, Johnston grabbed his head as he was helped off the field and walked gingerly to the cart that transported him to the locker room. There was a collective extension of the emotional breath that had been held by everyone in the stadium as the young star, under these terrible circumstances, was able to shoot them a sign he was up and moving. Nevertheless, Johnston's status was critical, and he was immediately taken to the hospital for further examination. The head injury was diagnosed as a concussion, which, although troubling, was not as serious as it first seemed. 36-24 Chargers, and there's a lay on the field. Jim's Johnston, and he stays down for a long while. .14651990 RTBM GQXPB 36 and 24 Chargers, and Johnston has served dust particles for Undertaker's piledriver. Paul McGuire, that's a good lick, Jimmy. Jim Harbaugh, yeah. Although conceding that the concussion was serious, Harbaugh emphasized some positives that Johnston had shown in the aftermath of the injury. Quentin got a concussion, and that's never a good thing, Harbaugh said. But the way it did look there at the time, I believe it could have been a lot worse. He was communicating, he recalled the play, and he was rolling along. So in that sense, it is a good thing. Even with the encouraging signs, Johnston's injury also presents a problem for the Chargers. And with the NFL season imminent, an injury to a player like Johnston could cripple the team early on. Drafted 21st overall out of TCU a mere 2 years ago, Johnston has fast found himself a vital component in the Chargers' offensive scheme. He caught 55 passes for 711 yards and 8 touchdowns last season, giving evidence of the possibility of becoming a favorite target for Herbert. The matchup against the Rams was the Chargers' third and final preseason game, which they lost, 23-22. The Chargers had already beaten the Detroit Lions and the New Orleans Saints, and the loss was an unexciting outcome for a team that are merely trying to polish its roster before the start of the regular season. Although the Chargers lost, the weight of the world shifted for many in the Chargers organization immediately to Johnston's health and future. Only a week away from playing the San Francisco 49ers next weekend, the Chargers are hopeful that Johnston will be able to rehab himself back into shape. Preseason has also offered the coaching staff an opportunity to see what kind of depth the team possesses and if that depth is prepared to take the field against the much-anticipated Kansas City Chiefs. But the stakes are even higher now because Johnston's health will be the #1 concern in the near future. And while the Chargers wait for more news on Johnston's recovery, the focus turns to what's next. As the team is without one of its key players for the time being, they'll have to figure out how to keep moving without their playmaker of a wide receiver for the time being. But there is hope that Johnston's injury, while significant, is not quite as disastrous as it could have been. For now, all fans can do is hope for the best as the Chargers gear up for their season opener. Johnston's being carted off is a harsh look at the violence of football and the necessity for player safety. As the team presses forward, they'll be hoping their star receiver makes a full recovery, and that the conversation can return to what truly does matter, football.